So some of you may know that I joined an accountability coaching mentoring group within Plexus, and one of my assignments is to share a little bit more about what I've been learning. And so I think these are valuable. This is valuable information for anyone who's an ambassador, whether you're want to go big or small. These are valuable lessons that I've been learning. So the group I'm in is called the Road to Maui group, and we receive weekly coaching and mentoring, and really just they're creating, basically, I feel like it's a personal coaching program. And one of the things that's been huge is the personal development involved in that, and just developing my own personal skills, knowledge base, and I really can't emphasize the value of that enough, just the takeaway of that alone. The other thing I've been learning is the importance of being consistent. So my daily income producing activity, and I've been challenged to record that every single day, to be recording my daily income producing activity. And it's really not that complicated. It looks like, like a bit, but really it's a ticky sheet. It's a ticky sheet with some different things that would be considered income producing activity. And when I do them, I check them off. And it's a way to really kind of measure, how much I'm working the business. If things feel like they're stalling out, then I look back and see, well, I haven't been very consistent. It's helpful. And so I've been learning the importance of doing activity that's not busy work, but is actually income producing activity. So what I'd like to go over today is just the first 5 weeks of my training and some of the takeaways I've had from that. So the first thing I learned about was the importance of my why. So why am I doing Plexus? Why am I on the products? Why do I love the company? I like to quote Kristen Abart. I wrote this down at our Super Saturday training. She said, lose your why, lose your passion, lose your focus. And so your why is that motivation to keep going and to keep working the business. And if you remember your why, you can keep going when there's a lull, when you feel discouraged, when a prospect you're really excited about just doesn't seem interested. Your why is going to help break down those barriers that you can start to see as, oh, I can't go on. But if you look back at your why, it is such a critical motivation. And so that's why it's important to make your why as specific as possible. So not general, like really be specific and revisit it often, knowing that it will change over time, it will evolve. Like for me, originally, I just went into it to see if I could improve my own health. Then when I started seeing results, it was about seeing whether I could improve my daughter's health. And as things began to very quickly, I began to realize there were so many people that could benefit from this. And so that's one of my whys. In week 2, I learned about the importance of daily affirmations. And this is kind of a newer thing to me, but it's the idea that you cultivate a healthy mindset. So I listened to a webinar by Dr. King, and I had written down, and I've got it pinned up, that thoughts are things, and you become what you think about. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about, as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. And as I looked into that concept a little further, I was introduced to Dr. Caroline Leaf, a neuroscientist, and she has done some amazing work in this area. And one of the things she challenges is that the way you think is actually going to change the way your brain functions. So it's actually creating a physical change in the brain. What you're thinking about actually alters your brain, your mind. So what's important is to daily reinforce truth and healthy thinking in order to combat and eliminate toxic thought patterns. And so just really implementing that practice of daily speaking truth and thoughts that will build up rather than tear down. Week 3 was about stories. And one of the things that I had done is I had underestimated the power of my story. And I'd also underestimated the power of other stories. I didn't realize the impact that they have, and that stories are what connect us to others, and ultimately that we make our decisions based on emotion. Whether you're a factual person like me who's research and data driven, ultimately we already make a decision with the emotional connection we make with people, and we just use facts really to reinforce that decision. So never underestimate the power of your story. I've really learned some helpful tips from Kendra Hall. She is a story telling coach, and her first tip was, 1, think about your story. What it is about? What lessons were learned? 2, what is your message? What are the main points you're trying to get across? Is there a theme? The third step is to cross-reference between the story and the message. Where do they intersect? Are there common themes? And weaving those two things together. There's a saying, facts tell and stories sell, and that is just something very important to keep in mind, especially for a personality such as mine, which segues me into the 4th week, which is really helpful for me, which is about personality types. And we use the 4 color types for MLM marketing, I think it's called. Anyways, what I learned is that it's important to consider the personality color of who you're communicating with. So it's important to consider their personality, but it's also important to be aware of your own color type in interactions. So I'm going to read over the different, just a very quick summary of the different color types, and you'll maybe see what I mean. So the first type is green, which I identify myself with. They love data and facts, info. They tend to be researchers, and the important thing is to know is they make great leaders because their decisions are well considered and informed. That's their strength. Highlighting the red, these people tend to be, they love competition. Recognition, rewards, contests, tend to be good organizers, and they're attracted to the money potential and the compensation plan. And so that's an important thing, is they're really interested in the bottom line. That would be their main motivation when you're speaking to them. It's not so much about helping others or knowing all the facts. You don't need to be just puking out data, which is what I do. Blue. The important takeaways for blue is they love to talk and relate to people. They also really don't care about facts and figures. It's more about making connections. Yellow tend to be the nurturers and caring. The important thing to note about yellow is they're interested in the cause, not as much as in the money or winning. So the importance with them is to appeal to them regarding how the products and the business would benefit others. So appeal to their helping nature. So those are the 4 personality types that we reviewed. And the important thing to take away from that one is just to learn how to cultivate different personality types, so that you're not always just connecting with one personality trait. And the last thing I learned was week 5, which is about organization, which I always need help with. Organization and the importance of my Frank's list. And Frank's is your list of potential contacts. Friends, relatives, acquaintances, neighbors, kids, sports teams, or S can be school. It's your list of potential contacts. And the idea is to jot down at least initially 100. And you're always going to be adding to that. And what I learned about is the importance of organizing those potentials and your contacts. Because studies have shown that 80% of sales happen after the 5th to 12th contact. So really, follow-up is key here. So it's important to schedule your follow-ups into the month. Once you've created that Frank's list, create a system. So this can be a whiteboard calendar, it could be a planner, which is, I use a paper planner often, index card, a digital spreadsheet. People love to color code their follow-ups. Who's really interested, who's at this point, you know, you're going to be organizing that, and you're going to continue to follow up with those people, continue to develop relationships, continue to connect with them. And you're going to pick one of those systems to organize your follow-ups, which is going to really help you, you know, so you're not sitting there every day, oh, you know, who should I be contacting? And you're going to pick one and try it for 30 days. Before you decide to make any changes, really give it a try. So the main point here is that follow-up is key. Most people will not, you know, will not engage, will not come back to you with interest in the first few exposures. It takes statistically 5 to 12 contacts. So don't give up, don't be discouraged, remember your why, keep going, keep building connections. And if you take anything away from this, I hope it's that it's important to be consistent, it's important to be working on income producing activity, not just busy activity, and that accountability can be just so helpful in directing you and steering your attention, your energy. I know I need that. I'm very busy. I'm also very disorganized, and so having help with focus and organization has just been incredible. So if you'd like to hear more about the Road to Maui group, or just have questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. Have a great day.